Okay, so this little video is about having less stress and a little bit more joy. And it is achievable, but we have to be aware of how to get to that point. And it's not always easy because our lifestyles are busy and we are mostly on autopilot. So I'm going to show you 3 circles. Okay, and this is based on a model by Paul Gilbert, which is our 3 emotional regulation systems. And so I'm going to start off with the red circle first, which is our threat response. So what would that mean in terms of, say, your work when you're within this circle? Obviously, there's a lots of things going on. We're having to do this, we're having to go there, we're having to, so let's just actually name them. So within this, there might be a deadline of having to get things done. And that elevates our stress response because obviously, if you don't get something done, the worst case scenario is that you will have felt that you didn't accomplish what you were meant to do. And maybe you will disappoint yourself, but also other people. And maybe these people are relying on you. So there's a lot of stress. So you will evoke almost like a stress flight, fight, or freeze response in terms of that. You know, we either want to kind of procrastinate or, want to run away or even defend ourselves. Yeah. So there's a lot of stress there within the work area here. So this is like a self-protection. This is like a threat response. Now, it doesn't have to be deadlines. It could be that maybe your relationships with your manager is such that there are expectations, and that maybe if the relationship is not so harmonious, it could be that you might not have a very good working relationship, or maybe you will, but everything around work, whether you're working for somebody or for yourself, is almost like it's an achieving. It's it brings fear and anxiety if we're always in this red circle. And this is the doing circle. So we're always doing. Yeah. And so therefore, in the doing, we get more elevated stress levels. Yeah. So mostly, we're aware of that. That's what happens when we are working in general. But how can we make this part of our stress response lower? How can we lower it? So let me just go to the green circle. Okay, by the way, when we get very stressed, we do release cortisol, adrenaline. So we have all these chemicals getting pumped into our systems, and it doesn't actually make us feel very good, does it? It can give us sweaty palms, it can give us heart palpitations, it might give us a headache. So when we have too much of this stress hormone, it's okay for a little bit. It's good to have a little bit of stress sometimes when you've got to get things done. But if it's in your system, when you go home and before you go to bed, it will stay in your blood system, and it might give you a sleepless night. But also too much cortisol in the body lowers your immunity, your immune system. Okay, so let's go to the green zone, which is so basically this is more our drive, striving. It's good to have this, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't get anything done. And it does get activated when we have to, motivate ourselves, obviously. So it's the wanting, it's still doing. So I'm going to put doing. It's not as intense as the red zone, but it still has planning. So there's still things going on within the blue circle. It's mostly ambitious, and this also emits a chemical. It's a dopamine, which is a little bit like, you get a hit where somebody says, oh, you're well done, and that was really good. You just want to repeat that. But obviously, if you're always trying to please and trying to repeat, again, that can lead to a stress response again. So it's finding that balance, finding that balance. So that's to be aware of. So that's activating, but that is already when you're activated and you are in the threat response. Now, the green zone is the soothing system. It's the safe, it's feeling safe. It's actually not so much doing, it's more being. Because when we are being, we are switching off a little bit from having to achieve something, having to want something. So it could be that in the green zone, you might decide to go for, a walk. You might decide to read. You might decide to go for a spa. Maybe connect with people. Do a joyful hobby. And just, do something that will be joyful. Yeah. So whatever that might be. So in this zone, we emit relaxing endorphins, oxytocin, which is the love hormone. It just makes us feel like we're connected and in harmony. And so this is the cycle that can go back or forth. So for instance, I can be so relaxed that I don't get anything done at work. And that might make me feel a little bit guilty that actually I'm not doing much. So then I need to move a little bit more to planning and preparing what I need to do. So all these emotional regulations can go back and forth depending on what's happening. But when you're really in the green, it's probably if you really want to be more in the green, obviously it's to become aware of when you're in the, if you're really stressed, you want to kind of switch off to the green. If you're feeling that you need to be motivated more from the green, you move into the blue. So it's just become aware, basically, is where am I most at certain times of the day. If you are working, say you're having a project to do for 3 hours and you're constantly in the red, eventually tension will arise because you're not giving yourself moments of rest. So clarity isn't always there when you're having to think things through. You might be having tension in the body. So you need just to be aware, maybe I need to take a break. Maybe I need to pace myself. Maybe after 50 minutes, I can stand up and stretch, maybe walk around the block, or maybe just lie down, do a little meditation. It's just stop and ask yourself, which circle am I in at the moment? So the stress then becomes, if you are aware that you're very stressed here and you move into the green zone, then that you're given permission. So you're creating a boundary. All right, enough is enough. I'm going to move to the green circle. Now, you may not be aware at first this is happening because most of us are on autopilot. So it's something that we've always done up until now. We've just worked through the tiredness. We've worked through that point where we're getting tired, but we're going to carry on. And that's where self-care comes into question, because really, if you want to longevity in working for yourself as an entrepreneur, you don't want to burn yourself out. So basically, that's an important thing to just become aware of. And it's a little bit each day. You can plan this. So you can say to yourself, well, I'll work for 50 minutes and then I'll take a 10-minute break. I'll have a drink of water. I'll stretch. And just putting it in a little bit each time. Why is this really important? Is because burnout comes from overwhelm. And so if you're in the zone a lot, or between the two, striving and burning and striving and burning, and you're never going to the green, then that means that your immune system will be compromised because you will be on the go thinking, on the go in your body. So just think about that. And I'll check in on the next video, on the next inbox that will hit you, and we'll discuss it further of basically how to move on from that to the next level. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.